I mean, I feel like that
as ready as we'll ever be.
That would have been a good song. As we proceed to give you what you need. Well, hi guys.
Hi guys. Y'all been wanting 2 episodes a week. Here you go.
I mean, I don't know if they want it anymore, but they
maybe
might.
not.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Who knows? But
yes.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Yeah, we've had an interesting week. I think everybody's had an interesting week, to be frank. But
we've all had an interesting last year and a half, to be frank. But
yeah,
guys, this won't be your average, I guess, See the Thing Is episode. As you guys know, last week we spoke to it being Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
I do want to thank all of you guys as well who sent all of your condolences to me and my family. I do want to say those did not go unnoticed, and I very, very much appreciate that. And I'm super excited because Bridget, in all Bridget fashion, I do want to start this off by saying, not only has it been a very rough year, and I'm not trying to start off crying either, damn it.
I mean,
if you do, though.
If you do,
no,
it's okay.
Fuck. I do just want to say, I am so proud and so happy and blessed to have you by my fucking side.
Love you, man.
We plan to come onto this journey together.
Yeah.
You've been with me not only through this, but a lot of personal stuff this year. And I value that. And I'm so grateful to have you here.
I love you.
And I'm very excited because what you did in embracing me is bring someone that you've embraced greatly over the past. I mean, I'm not sure even how long she's been in your life, but you've dated lunch dates with me to speak to this woman.
Yeah.
And so I want to give you the floor to introduce our wonderful guest.
Yeah. Hi, guys. So my guest is my lifesaver. She is, I call her my lifesaver because over the last year, as we talked about it last week, I mentioned that last year was the intro to therapy in a very different way as an adult, as a person experiencing the pandemic, and going through what kind of, I mean, it's not really midlife crisis, but it felt, at the time, it kind of felt like I'm not in my midlife.
Girl, it was a world crisis.
But it was a world crisis, and I was kind of going through the motions emotionally, and I was like, you know what, I have some time. I have some time to do some digging and do some unpacking, and so my lovely lifesaver. The word therapist, everybody always goes, ooh. Anytime you say therapist, people get nervous. They're like, oh shit. Crazy boots. But my therapist, my life coach, my life preserver, my guiding light, Sarita is here. Aww. And so I had to give you. I was like, we didn't bring it in. Cue up any claps.
I did. So
no air horns.
There's not going to be air horns or claps or gunshots during this episode.
We'll do snaps.
There we go.
We'll do snaps for you because, May being Mental Health Awareness Month, prior to all of the chaos and implosions that have taken place around us in the last week, I just felt it was important and it was timely to just discuss, some mental health things. And I think, it's the universe placing you in New York. You just so happen to be in New York over this weekend and able to come in and chat with us. Yeah. And so there's so many things to unpack, but I feel
oh my gosh, so many.
I mean, I feel like we can dive right into it because I think everyone has kind of been expecting responses to a multitude of posts on social media. Number one, I have to say I am thoroughly exhausted and drained with finding things out on social media.
I'm sitting here meeting her.
Tired.
I done gave her the waterworks already.
Tired.
This is exhausting and tiring.
But also, no, Mandy, that's kind of if I don't make you cry, then I haven't done my job. So please also
the first time ever, she's like, you look like you want to cry. I was like, yeah, I sure do. I do.
And I mean, I'll be honest in saying, too, I think, I know how it is for men to grow up. Men aren't really allowed to cry, and we're pushed to cry and wear our emotions on our sleeves. And unfortunately, as a woman, and one of the words that, shout out to Latasha, she hates when I say it, we've also been in a place to be strong Black women. Mm-hmm. And so, unfortunately, I've moved in that way in this space to where I laugh things off, I troll, I kiki, ha ha. I come on this pod and we're like, the world is burning and here we are. And we do laugh at it. But Bridget and I, Over the course of, I would say, several months now. I mean,
Yeah.
it's this year has been super hard for me, and I've been having to come on here weekly and speak my truth, tell my opinions, share the things. When in fact, I don't want to laugh about it. Maybe I just want to cry and ball up. Or, there's not been people that have checked up on my mental health. They feel like because the show is going on, I'm fine.
Yep.
And, so I guess I want to speak to that. Men, we know, are working through being able to open up and be themselves. But now in this era of women being coined strong Black women and strong first, and not letting their emotions get in the way of business, and not letting their emotions lead them to being crazy, or all of these things that are oftentimes in question with women as to maybe us making decisions that are emotion based. How do we move forward as far as still being able to be in tune with our emotions and be strong Black women and entrepreneurs and business owners and mothers and friends and partners all at the same time? Because now it's a lot now. We're doing more than just keeping up with the house.
But I also think that the term strong has been used as a weapon. It has been weaponized in the last, 30, 40 years. And what I would love for us to do is redefine what strong is, because there's so many words, so many things, so many phrases that just kind of get thrown around without actually taking the time to be a wordsmith or actually dive into, and I'm in the dive into business. I, for a living, jump headfirst into the very shit that people run from their whole lives. So for me, understanding that being strong is an asset, but how do I show up strong can be the determining factor between my survival or my detriment.
Right.
And so I think that's where we first should go when we're talking about being a strong Black woman. I'm okay with being a strong Black woman, because I know for me, my strength encompasses so much than just being stoic.
Right.
It encompasses so much more than just leaving my emotions at the door. My emotions is what got me through the door. So why would I leave them there?
Right.
My gut is what told me that you ain't shit or I can rock with you.
Right.
Facts.
So why would I stop that because you're uncomfortable with it?
Right.
So for me, I think that if as a collective, in our collective consciousness as women and as women of color, we could redefine what strength is, I think we would be far better. And I also kind of feel like being a strong Black woman was once again weaponized, but it was used to separate us. And it feels like, and maybe we'll jump into it or not, but the tides that have been happening and the ways in which we've been moving, a lot of shit is to separate us. And we fall for it.
We do. We take the bait.
We fall for it every time. And I'm like, but why? Because you don't see men falling for it.
No, but that's also because I think the idea of the strong Black women phrase has become a default setting. So when it becomes a default setting, then people get complacent and comfortable with what that represents and what that looks like, regardless of the complications and the layers that are a part of everyday life. Like, I mean, I'm gonna just be real specific and just keep it a stack. This last week for us, for Mandy and I, has been awful. On social media, it's been awful. But there's two important things that everyone will always remind us. One, we signed up for this, right? That's what we get told.
Sure.
We get gaslit and we get told we signed up for this, right?
Yeah.
And that
That's abusive.
it comes with the territory, right?
Okay.
And the other thing that we get told is that, at the end of the day, why, well, who do we think we are? We're not experts. We're not this, and we're not valid. Which is contradictory in itself. On the one hand, you're telling me I'm supposed to be strong and I'm supposed to stand up in this capacity, but you're also telling me that I'm not worthy enough to.
Right.
So I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss out the gate. And so I feel like we've literally started at a loss this last week. We started this last week at a loss. All the stuff that's going on with the Joe Budden pod and people in our mentions feeling entitled to our opinions about what's going on and expecting us to comment on things because we're podcasters. Being a podcaster, being a news reporter, being a journalist does not at any point in time demand that we be disrespectful, that we be inappropriate, that we cross boundaries that have been set on a personal
friendship
level.
And business professional.
And I'm floored. I'm floored by the amount of people that thought we were wrong, or we were shady, or we were cowardly for not responding to something, number one, that doesn't directly have to do with us. Number two, that puts us in a really conflicting situation because we're cool with all parties at hand.
Very uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. And number three, which is the biggest, most important point, we're women. And you're asking us to comment and participate in a conversation about and only pertaining to men after telling me that I'm not even worthy of having the conversation. So I'm exhausted because I literally feel like I'm playing a game of double dutch and I'm waiting and I'm supposed to go in, but it's like, wait, but no one else is jumping in, and then the ropes are just going, and now they're not ropes because now they're on fire. Now it's like barbed wire on fire.
I'm
That's
very
a nice visual.
That is exactly
saying?
the visual. It is. I'm very exhausted from the standpoint of yes, I have known all parties involved for damn near close to a decade now. So there is a personal rapport. There are ways in which I felt left out and uncared for in this last week. In a multitude of different interactions and such that has happened. I've been put in a very uncomfortable position professionally and personally with a lot of parties involved, and where I was left out and no one cared to give me a heads up on anything. Not that I was entitled to, but out of respect. I did not receive that this week. I found out a lot of things at the very same time that y'all did. And so there's that for one. Again, for two, this is my livelihood. Right. This is my passion. This is my happy space. And where Bridget and I built this, that's why I said, I'm so happy to have her with me because this has been therapeutic. This has been a fun, great environment. And I want to, Parks comes in smiling. I love the guys. Shout out to Savon and Alex and Carl.
Alex.
This is something to where
Ian Keeb,
when hell was burning for me personally, this was a great space for me.
Yeah.
It was, I couldn't wait till Mondays.
Yeah. Right.
I love Mondays.
Right.
And now we get to share the couch also with friends. I say that to say this last week has made me question friendships, loyalty, respect. If I'm owed anything, if I'm looking into it deeper than I should. And as women, we overthink. That's just something that we do. Right. So again, all of this has taken place over the last 5 or 6 days. And all Bridget and I could do was sit here like waiting ducks and wait for the next bomb to fucking drop. It's like
that's traumatic.
It is like.
Just, can we like take a minute for that though? Because that's straight up.
Yes.
100,000% trauma. To think about, okay, at some point in time, I can't really pull it together because if I pull it together, there's going to be something else knock me at my knees and just take me down. And to have that over a consistent basis is your body starts to respond from a traumatic place. You know, we don't have to get into it, but I would be really curious about like, how have you been sleeping? How have you been eating?
Melatonin in my wine.
Okay.
Oh, well, for me.
I don't have melatonin in my wine right now.
Not right now.
That is the answer.
Last night the dropper was going. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay.
Sleeping has been rough a little bit. But also falling asleep has been easier than waking up.
Yeah.
Because I wake up and, oh God, emails, social media, text messages. Right. What's now? What's now? And you know what? To be very honest with the audience, with myself, she knows. This has been ongoing now for us with when is the bomb gonna drop for the last couple months.
Yeah.
Yes, this week and whatever happened at JBP has imploded. We've enjoyed having our friends here. And while we want a third, there's PTSD with bringing someone else into our space.
Yep.
And because we felt as though, what could have we done differently? What did we miss? And I'll be honest in saying too, in where I stand in all of my friendships, I do want to believe that anyone who's in my space feels like they can check me, they can tell me about myself, but that they're safe and that they trust me. And so in a space where I know Bridget more than probably anyone always checked in to make sure this person felt safe. She's battled more than anything. What more could I have done? That's all she says to me. And as women, we want to believe that we are saving graces and safe spaces and havens for other women. And that has been something that I know has been eating her up.
I think the hardest part for me really has been, how do I effectively avoid slipping into the position of having to do damage control when, number one, it's not my responsibility, and number two, and really grappling with the feelings of the need to be responsible and want to be responsible and want to take care and want to nurture and want to have all the bases covered. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, our former co-host came out and released a statement regarding her reason for her departure from the Joe Budden network. And she cited that it was because of sexual harassment from our network head, who participated in an episode with us that made her feel mortified, was her word, and wildly uncomfortable. And my immediate response this morning was, number one, do I call her? Because when she left, the manner in which she left, it was very abrupt. There was no conversation prior to her leaving. I was not expecting it.
She left us in a text message.
And also it was on a day when we had a photo shoot. So it was like we were all here waiting for her, and she didn't come. Prior to,
I will say too, she also did acknowledge. She said, I understand and I apologize because I know this is going to put you guys in a tough space.
Okay.
Right.
But I want to thank you guys and the JBP crew. But the environment in whole was not.
It's not for her.
It was taxing on her. And
Fair.
we literally, we're not going to try to bring you into this.
There was no response.
Yeah,
first of all.
there was
We'll
no
start
response.
there.
Yes,
Mandy and I
there
did
was no
not
response.
respond immediately because, number one, shock. Number two, Joe called us and said, hey, Olivia just quit the podcast, and her attorney just called me and said that she's quitting. And I said, yeah, well, we just got a text message, so I guess we'll wrap everything up here. And he was kind of like, did you guys see any of this coming? And Mandy and I were like, no, I didn't see this coming at all. Everything has been fine.
Fine.
Seemingly fine-ish. And we'll go and we'll dive into that. In the episode that was the episode that Olivia felt violated. It was an uncomfortable day, and every single person in the room felt uncomfortable. And she cites that.
And everyone
times.
is, and what you guys can't see behind the scenes is that everyone is nodding like, yeah, it was pretty uncomfortable.
It was very uncomfortable for all of us, right? Mandy and I have known Joe for a much longer time.
Yes.
Mandy and I have different friendships with Joe. Joe and I have also done Love and Hip Hop. So I know when performative Joe turns on.
Hits the scene.
Cameras are on, the lights, everything is amplified. The energy, whether it's toxic, whether it's meant to be funny and it's not funny, whatever the energy is, it's performative when the cameras come on. For me.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
I want to add to that only because Joe at the time was not showing up anymore on Mondays. Me and Joe again, timeline, I've been speaking with Ian and Joe for a year and a half before this show started. Knew he wanted to start a network, and I knew kind of I wanted a different show in a different direction, and we've been collaborating since then. Joe stopped showing up, and after a conversation with Ian that Sunday, I said, there's some, needs that aren't being met for everyone as it pertains to the network and your presence. I let him know that based off of a conversation. Joe said, no, I'm showing up.
I'm going to come in and sit on the episode so we can hash this out.
Not only that, I want to know what is needed from me. What can I do more? Yeah. Joe said, I wasn't even coming in today. I'll see you at the studio.
Right. So he came in. Okay.
Yes.
We engage in this conversation, in this exchange about the fact that we've reached out and have not gotten the response that we wanted. The conversation went further, even within the network, about people not feeling like he was accessible and approachable about certain issues that might have been had. Mm-hmm. Production issues, right. Not personality issues.
Right.
Not that we knew of, but production issues. Mm-hmm. And it was made very clear that Olivia and Joe never spoke. He said it several times. Everybody has complaints.
We found out that they had only spoke twice.
They had never had any interaction.
I didn't know that they weren't engaging
at all.
I didn't know that. So right here.
So when this exchange is happening, Mandy and I are laughing about our own exchange because I don't give a fuck with Joe. You know what I'm saying? That's my relationship with Joe. That's Mandy's relationship with Joe. Right. We take what's being thrown when these cameras and mics are on with a grain of salt. We do. And it's not to excuse. It's not to excuse.
Oh yeah, no, never.
Anyone feeling uncomfortable if they're not familiar and you don't have that rapport with him.
Right.
It's understandable. We carry on through the episode. By the end of the episode filming, we are all left a little bit like
we took a break.
We take a break.
We took a break before restarting the episode. So once Joe left, there was a pause and a consensus with everyone in production.
And we went back and we were like, you know what? This is a little odd. Throughout the entire break, every single person, and Olivia states it very plainly in her video, that every single person goes to her and asks her if she's okay. Are you comfortable? Are you cool? Because that was a bit much. Joe asked, are you okay? Because that was a bit much. I actually recall Joe saying, I'm sorry if that was a lot. I'm sorry if I was doing too much during y'all's episode. To us, all of us, saying, I'm sorry if I was giving y'all a little bit too much. That might have been a lot. Not even, a lack of acknowledgement of his behavior went on. There was still kind of like, everyone was still kind of like, the energy's a little weird, but when we get back from break, we'll fix it. We'll fix it amongst ourselves. Right. Every single person, from Parks to Savon to Mandy to Alex, every single person said, Liv, are you all right? Because you seem a little uncomfortable. Are you okay? Should we take this stuff out?
We filmed, but Parks pulled her aside and said, whatever you want taken out doesn't have to go out. Whatever you felt uncomfortable with, Parks said, I'll let you listen back to the entire exchange. Whatever you were not comfortable with, I'll sit here and snip it out right now. It doesn't go out.
But tell us. Just tell us.
Right.
No one at any point in time in that frame was encouraging her to be quiet, was trying to continue to laugh it off, because Mandy came and said, you know what? Let's take that part out because
whatever y'all got edited out, it was, and this is where I hate that people are acting like, oh my God, Mandy's for women and you're in this space. And I looked at her as she said, no, it's all fine. You could just keep it in, Parks. I looked at her and said, no, Liv, you looked uncomfortable. And me hearing that and how any other woman would listen back to that, executive decision on me. Parks, let's take that out. Let's take this out.
Everybody was in complete agreement.
Compliance.
So the narrative that
I took the edits out, but
the narrative that in
her.
That space, I want to personally apologize to her if she felt as if in that space she was not comfortable enough with us.
Right.
To even pull us aside and say, hey, this shit wasn't cool.
Right.
I'm really uncomfortable. Like, we gotta, because in that moment, regardless of how many times we might think we're creating that space, no matter how many attempts we might make to get her to open up or own what she's saying, if she doesn't feel comfortable with us, she's not going to say it, regardless of the attempts. I think the part that's so disheartening to me is upon the release of this video, I'm looking at all of my comments and all of my mentions and the attacks on my character.
And mine.
And Mandy's. When we did start this series and this podcast with the idea to protect each other. And Mandy and I have always felt safe with each other. We both made efforts to try and make Olivia feel safe with us.
Right.
And
I guess we failed.
And I'm apologizing if she felt like those efforts, it was water hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Because attempts were made, and if we fell short in that, and that contributed to her not feeling comfortable in those moments where we created space to say anything, then I do feel awful about that.
Yeah.
Because I also, and maybe that's a question then that I would pose to you in terms of trying to remedy and rectify a situation that even if it's not by my doing, it's not by my hand, and I haven't contributed to that. But because I brought Olivia in, there is still a part of me that feels responsible for that.
For sure.
So how do I, even if it's not my fault, how do I make someone comfortable in an environment when they're not even comfortable with me?
And you got to stop beating yourself up for that. But I would love for you to answer that because she does. I know.
I can't.
Don't cry. You're going to make me cry. She's been beating herself up that she brought Liv into this space. I did not know Liv before. No one in the whole network. And she's been beating herself up for this.
I think as a woman, especially in this space, right? I always say, even in my music career, that I've been lucky. I've been really blessed because I hear horror stories all the time from women that deal with any level of intimidation or whatever they feel incapable of speaking up and incapable of voicing their truths. I've never been in that position.
Right.
I've never felt uncomfortable speaking up for myself. And if I did, it was because people on my team were like, maybe we shouldn't. But in terms of being in scenarios and situations with men in power, and not even pertaining to harassment, just career, just life, just being a woman of color in a space where men are waiting for you to speak out of turn and waiting for an opportunity to break you down, to put you back in your place. I've never experienced that. So I feel at even more of a disadvantage in a situation and scenario where another woman, maybe she expected me to do more or say more. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she actually was kind of like, don't worry about it, sis. I'm gonna just ride out by myself, which was the impression that I got even in my follow-up conversation when she left, because regardless of what transpired that day on that episode, we continued business as usual for 3 weeks after that. There were 3 different episodes after that where we all showed up here as if we were okay and all good.
Yeah.
And we continued to talk to each other and reach out to each other and check on each other. And there was never an indication of anyone being mortified, which makes me feel worse that she sat with this for 3 months.
Right.
And maybe didn't even know how traumatized she was for 3 months. So sat with us and was like, it's cool, ladies, I'm sorry. This is just not for me. This has nothing to do with me, blah, 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 blah. It's nothing to do with y'all. This is, it's something I'm dealing with over here. And that's that.
Right.
And there's no room in this conversation, by the way, for anybody to, I just want us to normalize not having to say you believe or you don't believe what someone says. Take that completely out of the equation because it's inconsequential. It doesn't matter. If a woman says she's uncomfortable, she's uncomfortable. It doesn't matter who agrees. It doesn't matter who believes. If she's uncomfortable, she's uncomfortable. It's an absolute statement, full stop.
And I wanted that to go uninterrupted. She has beaten herself up on, I brought a woman into a space. I didn't make her feel safe. What more could I have done? As many women, we brought our friends to clubs. We've introduced our friends to other men. We've been the mediator or the Cupid in bringing the women we care about in spaces, unfortunately, that may have ended up uncomfortable. As a woman, how do we not wear that burden? How does she get past this? Beating herself up.
Not even just how do I get past this? Because it's not about getting past this. I know.
Well, course correction then. the next time.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping there is no next time, but
Same.
I think for women in general, like I said, my mentions and my comments today,
Nasty.
we're not asking questions about anything. They were accusatory. They were mean. And clearly nobody listened because Olivia said several times that we all asked her if she was okay. And she didn't feel comfortable saying that she wasn't.
Yeah.
It's not as if she was ignored. It's not as if she was looked over. If she felt looked over, I can't speak to what led her to feel that way.
Right.
But going forward, as a woman in this space, how can I honor myself and my integrity and hold my dignity in place and still be confident in knowing I did my absolute best here?
I think you did your absolute best here. And I think that feels like that's the part that is being missed.
That's the problem. She feels as though it wasn't enough.
Well, it wasn't enough.
No, I don't believe that it wasn't enough. You did what you could do. How a person interprets it, how a person receives it, how a person acknowledges it is their stuff. And we talk about often, is that your stuff or is that someone else's stuff? And sometimes, and it may not happen today, it may not happen next week, but something that was very evident is that this was, and I don't know Olivia personally, and I don't feel comfortable speaking to anything about it except for what I've observed and witnessed, was her saying that this was a first step to her healing. Which means that this is now her journey and now this is her work. And so being able to understand that this is what she had to do in order for that journey to start really supports everyone in recognizing, okay, I get it, we get it, and that's it. There is no responsibility for anything else except how can we support you in this part of your journey now?
Right.
Because the past has happened.
Right.
The past can't be taken back. The feelings, the emotions, the thoughts behind it are already embedded. You did your best. And whether someone receives it as your best is not your journey. And it's not for you to attempt to prove to someone else. It's not yours. And my hope is that through all of this, and as you all set out on your journeys to heal, that there may be a space for one day saying, yo, this is where I was. Because this, as women and as people, the straw that breaks the camel's back is never the first straw.
Right.
It's always the last.
Right.
And so how many straws has Liv had to swallow and deal with and bear the brunt of, just like all of us, where this moment was the moment she said, no mas, I'm cool, I'm done. This ain't for me. So my hope is that through this part of her journey, through this part of you all's journey, that you start to uncover what is at the core.
Right.
What is it that I've been running away from? What are the things that I've overlooked because it was too scary to pay attention to in the moment? What are the things that have created a space where I may be moving in a toxic way? What are the things that, create all of this chaos? Sometimes we got to just kind of be still and be like, yo, I got to work through this shit.
Right.
Because if I don't, there's going to be bigger consequences.
And it takes time.
Because we're all what? A work in progress.
It takes time. Yeah.
So long.
All of us.
I guess
Y'all know I am.
I mean, I think we all are. I guess it's a lot harder for us to grant ourselves the grace that we try to grant everybody else. Especially when we always say, like, you never really know what's going on with somebody. You never really know what's going on with a
That
person.
part.
You never really know. You only know what they want you to know. And so, with all of that being said, again, I would implore everybody to really be mindful about how you respond to things. And that's for everyone. That is for every single person listening. Because I'm reading my mentions today and I'm just like, I'm not responding to any of it. Everyone's like, how could you? Shame on every single person who's in my mentions talking to me about the protection of women and still somehow treating me as if I was the person accused of any mistreatment whatsoever.
Yes.
And can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Of course.
How many, if you had to give a ratio, how many of the people in your mentions in the comments are Black women?
Most.
Majority.
Almost all of them.
I actually was called a refrigerator and said, I wonder what this refrigerator built bitch has to say. You stand for women, yet I'd like to see you get out of this one as I remain on this network. And it puts in question me and my character and what I stand for.
I'm so sorry.
No problem. Your nigga know we recording. I'm gonna cuss his ass out. I saw the heart emoji.
I have it on Do Not Disturb.
I saw the heart emoji. I'm gonna cuss your nigga out. Sir, we working. I say that to say it has been Black women, unfortunately, on the attack again of Bridget and I's character in a place where we did check many times. We did only want her to feel safe in the space. We did want her to feel heard. There was never, oh, girl, don't say that. Don't do.
Right.
But also, to address the elephant in the room, as women.
Wait, there's another elephant?
Yeah. Well,
There's a few.
Wait, what's the other elephant?
We're gonna be pulling
Holy
them.
No, there's a
shit.
few. There's a few. The real elephant in the room, I think, too, is defining or establishing a level of how we feel about what's deemed sexual harassment, because we exist in an era and in a time when we're not.
This where we going?
Yes, because we're not supposed to question any of it now.
Right.
We're not allowed to question any of it now.
We're not.
Because for the most part now, as it pertains to women, women need to be validated in their feelings. They need to be validated in feeling uncomfortable.
Should.
But they need to. But it's true. They really do. Women need to continue to be uplifted and encouraged and championed and advocated in that way to speak their truth about how they feel.
Yes.
In an environment where professional and personal lines are blurry,
Especially in the industry.
especially in this industry, how do we navigate as women a space where we're now in a situation where we have a woman that was a part of our team that left because of sexual harassment allegations? We're never going to say we don't support her or don't believe her or don't.
Not never.
We'll never say that.
Right.
Can I add to this, however?
No, I'm not done yet.
Okay.
In the same token, in the same breath, that we would never say that. And we want her to heal and we want her to be okay. In terms of us plowing through and continuing on with our platform, with our space, how do we effectively do that without our characters being called into question? Is there a universe? Is there a universe where we are based on our own standards able to hold people accountable for their behavior and their actions and their treatment and still move forward?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I would love to hear, though.
From a mental and emotional standpoint only, because to me that's where most of the decision making is going to have to stem from anyway.
Right. Nah.
Nah. I mean, I told her whether we're silent or we speak out. Like, that was our conversation too. And I want to speak to that because in life, period, jobs, relationships, friendships, there's a decision made. You can confront it,
Right.
or you could hide from it.
Yeah.
So in terms of us being on this fucking mic every week, we can address it or we can brush it off.
Yep.
But I told her, regardless of either decision, We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. Someone is going to have a response and feel entitled to either us having an opinion, and when we don't give it, they're upset, and when we give it, they eat up every word.
Yeah.
So in that space then, again, and this is what we talked about over breakfast, we do have to hit things head on.
Yes.
But it at the toll of our mental, at the toll of our emotional, at the toll of the relationships we've held with people, in terms of our livelihood.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not us thinking, oh my God, what do we do with the show? Mentally, we're questioning ourselves as women, providing safe spaces. Mentally, we're enduring the fact that we have personal relationships with the people we work with.
Right.
And moving forward, we're questioned by society about the decisions we're making as it pertains to not only our friendships, our business, our livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know where there's room for.
There is room. I was being facetious when I said
Nah. You said nah, like nah, bitch.
I mean, there is a strong part of me that still is. I'm trying to be eloquent, but my nah is I said what I said.
Yeah.
But I also think that we are in a space where so much is being unearthed. Mm-hmm. So much is being unearthed. And the both of you are in the crosshairs of a lot of stuff that didn't start with you.
World War 14.
And isn't going to end with you either. And for me, my invitation would be to continue to be authentic and to continue to show up. And we aren't placed on this earth for everyone to love us, to agree with us. And I know that people say, well, you signed up for this. And, you know, I think really supporting people and understanding the humanity of everyone involved. And unfortunately, and I may date myself when I say this, but I truly believe that social media has been a destroyer of people's humanity. Mm-hmm. Because folks get real saucy when they letting their fingers or their thumbs doing the talking. Mm-hmm. And that to me makes this divide even more, because you're not just you're not combating people, you're combating fingers. You're combating trolls. It's not like you're on the subway and someone's like, "What the F you doing? Da, da, da. I can't believe that." It's like you're not having a conversation.
No, I am combating Cutie Pie 02347.
Right.
That's who I'm combating.
Right.
And I think
has a flower pot for an avatar.
If
fucking dummy.
I feel like that's a real person.
No, it's not.
I feel like there's somewhere in there.
It's not. We just let the straight fly to the people that don't.
But we do know behind that account lies a person.
Right.
Right.
And it also lies a coward. And if you were to,
I would have put the gunshot there.
Someone. If you were to see Cutie Pie 1573.
Oh no, the energy would never be the same. She would literally be a flower pot. She'd be a flower pot.
So I think we have to do a better job at people who are rational and sane at being like, yo, I'm you not giving me that energy, and so I'm going to continue to be my authentic self. And I'm not sweeping it under the rug.
No,
I'm not shying away. Like, we're going to talk about things, because if we want to take this in a completely different direction, that would need another bottle of wine. As
oh girl, we could get it.
As Black people, we do a lot of hiding.
Right.
We hide sexual abuse. We hide domestic abuse. Yep. We hide trauma. That is the reason, and some of the crux of the reasons that we are in some of the positions we're in, is because that elephant in the room has now set up shop, had kids. There's, stuff under the rug, and we're just not looking at it. So I want to invite the both of y'all to be the champions to say, we're not going to do it that way anymore. We're not going to be like, our aunties. We're not going to be like our moms. We're not going to be like our grandmothers who just let things hide and keep moving forward because that's what Black women do or that's what we do. No. You have a platform for a reason. Use it. And stay authentic. Stay true to who y'all are. And the folks who rock with it will rock with it. And those who don't, I invite y'all to have, in a position of cutie pie ain't paying your bills.
It's true. It's true. But I would also say that regardless of the financial aspect of it, there's still, like you said, the human aspect of it, of feeling as if, damn, like there's no grace for me. Like, there's no grace for me. Y'all got grace for everybody else in every wishy-washy circumstance imaginable. And
and they scream that they care about mental health before those things are put out, before they act in the way they do.
That takes place, and
it is taxing on us, and we haven't gone through this without acknowledging it for both of us. Like, I check, you good?
Yeah.
Me and her, we FaceTime every morning like we married. We don't sleep in the same bed, but me and her FaceTime, and it's just like, sigh before you say hi, but are you good? Mm-hmm. We'll literally just look at each other before we even say a word, and we do.
Morning.
Literally.
It's literally a sing-song morning.
It is. I don't know if you've noticed it.
Wow.
As we look at each other, we just look at each other as women.
Every morning.
Bearing mind you, this is a lot as far as what we've endured over the last couple of weeks. But as women, she's been apartment hunting. She moved into a new place. She moved cross country.
Girl, I moved across the country to do this damn podcast. And I wake up this morning and everything is on fire. It's literally like the house is on fire and I'm in my bedroom and I just designed my bedroom and everything looks nice. I got the furniture, I got the lights, everything is in place.
And now she's making paintings in the ashes from the fire. And so we look at each other and it's like, we're losing friendships. I'm enduring things with my family, my best friend, everyone in my life that I felt like I was in control of. Like, to me, and again, yes, bring it up. I always bring this up to corporate. My life, I've worked since I was 15 years old. I left corporate to come here. And so to me, I ain't never had a job with a little bit of drama. Right. Maybe I've gone in and I didn't like my boss. Maybe I went in and I fucking hated my coworkers. Right. I went into a place that wasn't fulfilling me. Passion, as far as the passion I held, I was going to live to survive. Mm-hmm. And so since I've started working at 15, I walked into work and did the shit. But I did feel in control of my social life, my personal life. Yeah. And she knows, from moving, financially, this pandemic, my best friend getting breast cancer, me thinking I was going to lose my mom with COVID, now me losing my cousin, emotionally, outside of all this fucking shit. Right. That's why I tweet something and y'all think it's about this fucking podcast or any of this shit. Bridget and I have a life on top of that. Right. So we look at each other and embrace, because from relationships to family to moving to what our life looks like in our 30s as women who don't have children, who don't have rings. There's all this pressure that we deal with outside of this fucking room and couch and podcast that no one takes into account. Yeah. And we show up and fucking make y'all laugh. And so the expense of our mental health right now, the entertainment of these people that feel entitled, we're literally losing friendships behind the scenes. We're questioning our actions as women in the concept of wanting to be a safe haven and provide space and protect women and protect each other as friends. It's fucking a lot. Yeah. It's fucking a lot, and nobody gives a flying fuck. Well, you don't have to fucking give a fuck. But God damn it, it's a lot on us. And we sat here, both of us cried. You embraced her. You hugged both of us and we cried. And again, I fucking hate it because I come on and I jokey joke. And that's how, oh, fuck y'all. I'm a dickhead. I'm an asshole and I can be that. That's how I cope without fucking crying.
But at the end of the day, the tears are so necessary because you want people to see your humanity. And this is the way that they do. Mm-hmm. Right. The fact that you guys are taking a whole episode to speak about feelings, to speak about how this has impacted you, to speak about how not this has just impacted you, but just being a woman has impacted you. This is the humanity. And if people don't understand that and can't see that, it wasn't meant for them. Because this, at the end of it, you created this so that this was your safe haven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You signed on to do this because you wanted to do something that you felt good and passionate about.
Yeah.
Y'all got it. So continue to facilitate that and foster that, because the original mission should not go by the wayside because y'all in the midst of bullshit right now. This is life, and this is a very small part of y'all lives, as you just said. It has a huge impact, sure, but at the end of the day, the grand scheme of life, this is about a morsel of what your life is.
Yeah.
And so treat it as such. Treat it as such. This is a sacred space, sure. And at the end of it, you're going to still be fine. You're still going to be you. And I'm going to make sure of that.
Oh, yeah, bitch. I'm signing up, bitch. Weekly? How does this work?
Yeah.
Zoom? 1 hour a day?
Listen.
Break my pockets, sis.
Listen.
Break my pockets, sis.
Listen,
I mean,
it's gonna break some chains for sure.
Can I
I'll tell you
also,
that.
but before we get out of here too, as well, we, and I'm saying that like I'm a black pastor. We could be here for another 30 minutes, y'all. I don't know. I just said before we get out of here, baby. Listen, one more thing.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, because we sat here in pre-pro while our lovely Carl was getting these cameras right for y'all to watch us today.
Carl got a cool ass camera today.
Jesus, so that my fucking tears can be in 4K. Thanks. I want to ask you, because very openly on my other show, and the conversations, probably even with Bridget, regarding therapy.
Yeah.
Regarding, venting, I guess, or paying someone to hear my thoughts. I was someone who looked at therapy as only the people who don't know themselves need it. I've said, what I gotta talk to somebody for them to tell me about myself? I know who I am. I also feel like I have friends who give really sound advice, unbiased opinions. And I was like, I got my friends. I got people to talk to when I want to vent or go through stuff. I've had a very supportive partner over the last year in what was a very hard year for a lot of people. So I was like, what I got to pay for somebody to listen to me to? And now I'm sitting here like, girl, take all my coins. But I want to ask maybe what you have to say to someone who was like me, who feels like, why do I have to pay for someone to hear my thoughts?
Well, not even just from that aspect, but where do we start? And even for people who know themselves, like, where do we start?
Where do you start?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question, because you sat here, we talked for what, 30, 40 minutes? Mm-hmm. And I talked to, oh girl, oh no, we sat here.
That's how it works.
So we sat here and talked for this 30, 40 minutes, because I said, hey girl, Bridget told you what we was gonna talk about? She said, no.
Nope.
I said, you hip on what's going on? She said, I've seen a little bit. She was like, I said, well, this ain't gonna be a regular See the Thing Is episode. She said, it's not. And I just started, literally, this was, girl. I just started opening up about my, no, she did. She set me up.
Set you up.
And I sat here and just started pouring into her.
Yeah.
And it mostly had to do with what we wanted this conversation to look and sound like, and what we've been hit with for the last week.
And before you knew it, you were being therapized.
Bitch, you came in to give me these flowers that I love. Mm-hmm. And as she embraced me, she said, there's a lot more that you're feeling and hurt from that I don't know what it is. But there's a lot more layers to why you feel the way you do. Yep. And I don't know what it is, and I can't tell you what it is. I'm like, you're not a psychic. She said, I can't tell you what it is, but you have a lot on you right now. Heart, shoulders, head. I don't know where they lie.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Maybe my coochie too. Y'all know I got to throw that in there.
God, always.
I say that but I say that to say that may also be my trauma and why I view harassment, uncomfortable positions, all of that differently as well.
But there's nothing wrong with
There's
you.
not, but in the way I'm viewing and questioning myself the same way you are, I've gone through a lot to be to where I am today. And she noticed that. She don't know shit about me. Y'all, I met her 40 minutes before we turned the goddamn cameras on.
Shit, me too. I told you this the first time. No, you don't understand. Sarita and I lived in LA. We both lived in LA. She still lives in LA. When we started our therapy sessions, they were on Zoom. This is my first time in a year. First time seeing her in person.
And y'all's embrace was
in a year.
It was
in a year. We're on Zoom every week for therapy. This is my first time getting to sit in person.
Outside of you having time, outside of it being a pandemic, and outside of this being your job, I want to go back to the questions. Someone who's considering therapy, someone who's questioning if therapy is for them,
or who's still subscribing to the stigma that therapy is for crazy people.
What would you say to that? And also, as an individual questioning that, where do they begin?
That is a very loaded question.
I know, bitch. That's how we throw shit off.
Everything on here is loaded.
That's pretty loaded. And the honest response, which may come across as a bit of an asshole in my private life, in my public life, I'm very much.
Which serves you very well in therapy, by the way.
I'm sure.
It just cuts through. Okay? Just gotta cut through. Sometimes you be trying to get bullshit. She's like, no, I don't believe you.
No.
And you're like, damn, I can't even lie. I can't lie. Damn.
I tell people and I share with people. I try not to tell people anything because there's things that I'm very clear. I'm not Miss Cleo, so I can't tell the future. I can't tell what's going to happen to you. And I paid a lot of money for my brain, so I use it really, 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 really well. However, I tell people, like, I'm not in the position or the place to have my time wasted, nor have your time wasted. Mm-hmm. So if you are still in the, I'm not sure, or how can it help, take your time. Therapists are going to be there.
Right.
Good ones may not, but therapists are going to be there. And I think that's one thing that I'll touch on. But really, this being in therapy is probably one of the biggest commitments that you will make outside of child rearing.
Oh, outside of the bar class I'm signing up for?
Outside of that.
Completely outside of that.
Completely
outside of bar class.
Okay.
On the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So with that being said, you got to know that you want to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's work.
Because it's work. The only way that you're doing it right is if you're working. And so I share with people, just really pay attention to where you're at. The second thing is making sure that you go into it as a relationship. We had to kiss, and I don't know about any of the audience or anyone else here, but I had to kiss a lot of frogs to get to a prince. And therapy is the same way. It's not you're not going to find your prince or princess right out the gate.
No.
You are dating your therapist. Because this is the person that you're going to hopefully tell the most intimate parts of yourselves to. You don't want to just do that with anyone. You want to make sure, and that person is going to, I fuck up often. I don't say the right thing often. And I'm okay with that because it's a relationship.
Right.
I am a mirror and I am what you give to the world. So I don't get it right. So I say, be willing to go through a couple therapists. And just like you're seeing about their vibe, or they're seeing about your vibe, you see about their vibe too. Is this someone that I want to talk to on a regular basis? And
can I ask that before you go on?
Yes.
A regular basis for someone seeking therapy. Once a month, once a week? How often? Because even, of course, it could be taxing on someone's pockets as well. Right. We know we just got out of a pandemic.
True.
So I want to ask you, for it to be something that does work, knowing it's work, how often should someone speak to their therapist?
I would recommend at least for the first 3 to 6 months doing it weekly.
Okay.
And it's not just because at least weekly, because it gets you, especially if you're new, it gets you in the rhythm of meeting with someone, with knowing that, all right, it's Tuesday night on Wednesday, I need to, it holds you accountable in a way that every other week or once a month doesn't do. So I would say at least weekly, and then have a conversation with your therapist like, yo, how are you thinking me doing it, continuing every week is? And then you guys get to talk about it. So I say first 3 to 6 months, every week, because you want to get a feel and a rhythm of who they are, who you are, how y'all rock.
I like that answer.
The stigma piece,
Right.
that's kind of why I got into this, is because I know that this is my gift. 100,000, I know that. And I know that I am a therapist unlike other people. I work in the music industry. And so it's important for me to be relatable and have people feel like, yo, I could, in my office in LA, when we had an office, because I'm licensed in LA, I'm licensed in Georgia, and I'm also licensed in New York.
Talk your shit
Get
quick.
into it.
This little flex is brought to you by.
Right? But my LA office is in my home, and I did that intentionally because, having insert rapper drive up to my house, you don't know if I'm the baby mama. You don't know if I'm the auntie. You don't know if I'm the weed man. You don't know who I am. And that gives people a level of comfort,
right,
because I go into the studio, I go on tour, I go to the club. Wherever you need me, I'm there. And forgive me for saying, and shout out to the little Jewish ladies with fanny packs that are therapists in the world, but y'all can't do what I do.
Talk your shit, queen.
And it's because I am embedded in culture. I am a hip hop head. I am a kid of the 90s. Maybe early 90s, but
so kids of the 90s, still the 90s.
They're the 90s, darn it. So for me, it's important that you don't know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
My anonymity is very important because it's more important for you to feel comfortable as the person who is seeking my service than for me to be all in the videos.
Right.
So this is a bit much for me, to say the least, but I'm thankful and appreciative. But just jump into therapy. It's okay. It's really okay. You're not going to die.
Right.
You're just not. And if I can give a quick shout out, because
you can. This is the home of the
actually,
shout
I'm the
out.
shout out queen.
This is the
So
home
who we
of the
shouting
shout
out,
out.
sis?
because I think, so I said I was in music. So I created the first mental health and wellness department of any record label.
Amen.
And so
Wish we had the air horn for that.
Oh, no
shout
air horn.
out to Love Renaissance.
Yes.
Shout out
Can
to
you?
LVRN.
Do you know their family here?
Yeah.
So
We had
Sean, we spoke to him.
We had a great call with
Really?
Sean, shout out to Sean, Justice,
Yes.
Tunde, Maria, the entire LVRN.
Junior, Carlin.
They are phenomenal in what they do,
Yes.
and I love. And for those of you who are unfamiliar, they are the label that has Summer Walker, Black, BRS Cash. Oh my God,
West Side Boogie.
West Side Boogie,
Division
now.
just signed to them.
But
Shelly is also
Shelly-
there as well.
Shelly
We
is
love Shelly.
FKA Drum.
Yes.
I say
And
that
Kitty
to
Cash.
I say that
DJ.
to Kitty Cash.
Yes.
I say that
Love
all
Kitty
to
Cash.
say those, again, all millennials. Sean and I know each other from when I was like 17. And what they've been able to do and how they've moved as far as marketing geniuses.
Yes.
But they truly have done nothing but wanted to create a safe space for women on
artists,
record labels
too.
and music. That's what we spoke to him about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Having women artists and creating safe space. And again, so yes, you finish the shout out. I'll shout him out too.
Yes.
But shout out. Yes.
And also, with them being 5 men, they definitely support and champion women as executives. And so I really want to give a shout out to the woman who holds it all together. She's always behind the scenes, but Jessica Rodriguez is the fucking shit, and she is the glue. And I'm just so grateful that they took a chance. I went to maybe 7 different labels.
Wow.
And all of them said, no, that is none of our business. But if an artist wants your services, we'll hook you guys up. So, our intention at my company is that to be the creator of mental health and wellness departments for every record label, every film and TV production house. I'm talking about, because we take so much from artists, we take so much from executives, and we take so much from their staff, and we expect them to just smile and show up.
They expect that from us as podcasters.
Right. So it's important that we create an infrastructure where we're supporting people and understanding that we see you, you matter, and that we got you.
Right.
And so it's been 1.5 years. We started right when the pandemic started, and we thought it was going to be like 5 or 6 people, and it ended up being like 93% of the company.
Wow.
So we are expanding. My company is Just Be Consulting. We are in talks with other record labels and other management groups. But when I say it is my intention to have a mental health and wellness department in every in the entertainment industry, I'm so serious about it, because it's time.
We need it in podcasting.
We need it in just the industry.
Yes.
And why not have it? There's so much money that's out here.
Right.
Why not funnel some of that money? Because also it's a smart business investment if we're going to keep it a stack. When you are able to support your talent with having resources and supporting them, their productivity from everyone is so much higher.
You're the WD-40 for the emotional and mental machines. Like, that's how we function.
Yeah.
We function, and it sucks because so much of what people would attribute creative success to stems from chaos and dysfunction. When in fact, when we're well-oiled machines creatively, we operate on a higher frequency, a higher vibration, and therefore at a greater capacity.
Well, and we've made fun of it. We've coined ourselves now the chemistry queens.
Yes.
But chemistry comes from mentally feeling safe, feeling heard, feeling appreciated, feeling respected, feeling valued. All of those things that as people we need to feel to be our best selves.
Yeah.
It comes from knowing why things hurt us, knowing why we respond to things we do, knowing why we receive words in ways even if the person doesn't have ill intent when they say it. All of that has to do with up here. And again, that comes from our experience, from childhood, from trauma, from how we were raised, from our environments. This bitch ain't even know what a candy lady was. We
didn't have that here.
Right. No, I know, right?
I wasn't able to go to the candy house because it was also the dope house.
All right, wait, my lady wasn't the dope house. Dang, don't give that persona on the candy lady. But I say that to say
candy is different for everybody.
That part. I say that to say who she was in her adolescence, her teen, her childhood, and everyone in this room. We all grew up in different generations. Parks, Carl, Savon. We're all in different spaces in our lives, and so I can't know how everyone is going to receive me, or my words, or my actions.
But what will separate everybody, though, I think, is the willingness.
Yes.
The willingness. It's the willingness to unpack. It's the willingness to do the work. It's the willingness to. I mean, the hardest part I think about therapy in the beginning when we started was having to be honest with you demanded that I be honest with myself about certain shit. And there's some things that I think, it's a work in progress. Because
drop, bitch.
What I realized too is that it's an ongoing process. Self-work is an ongoing process. This is not, there's no destination in therapy. There's no you can reach milestones where you're like, damn, isn't this crazy that 6 months ago we talked about this, and 6 months ago I would have been like, nah, fuck that, I'm cool, I'm burning the whole shit down. And now it's like, well, wait a minute,
or key the Volvo.
let me sit down. Is this my shit for real? Right? I'm
or
like,
throw
is
the
this
spaghetti sauce.
Is this the, I'm trying not to make pasta. I'm really trying not to make pasta, but it's an inside joke.
Inside jokes for the listeners.
But no, I'm so grateful for, number one, your mission, because I think you leading every conversation and every opportunity to grow with the mission makes it impossible for anybody to keep their guard up, because it's a mission that everyone naturally is going to be inclined to feel a part of, right? And that's the one thing that everybody wants, is to belong and feel a part of something, some sort of community, some sense of connection and connectivity. And the mission is the easiest thing to connect with, because everybody wants to feel balanced. Yeah. Everybody wants to feel safe, and everybody wants to reach that level of peace, both internally and have that be what you exude for other people,
right?
And what you project onto other people. So I'm so grateful for you, Sarita, for real. You have literally changed my life. You've saved my life on a number of occasions.
You about to be in my life.
You about to save Manny's life. And yeah, I appreciate your time and your commitment to, number one, raising the bar on how Black people are embraced in therapy in in mental health, and how you are slowly, one client at a time, one mission statement at a time, normalizing and really, really driving home the point and emboldening the idea that mental health should be at the forefront and a priority for us.
And it's a human right.
It's a human right.
It's truly a human right. And I think that when we understand that other people have been seeking therapy or talking to someone for such a long time, like, we are always behind the mark. And sometimes it's to our own detriment, and sometimes it's put on us. But really understanding that everybody that seeks out therapy that don't look like us, they've been doing it a long time and have no problem telling the world. Right. Have no problem saying, oh, no, I can't do that. I have, Dr. Lipschitz at,
Not Lipschitz. Come on, Rugrats.
Yeah, right. Catch the reference.
I'm a millennial. Hello.
I didn't remember Dr. Lipschitz.
Oh, that was Rugrats.
I watched Rugrats. But Susie was my bitch. But anyway, carry on.
Shout out to Cree Summers.
Shout out to Susie.
But everyone has said and done their thing, and they are balanced, or at least some form of it.
Right.
We are the ones that are like, no, we got Jesus in. And it's like, well, guess what? Jesus gave me this brain.
Right.
Jesus, you are right.
Jesus gave you the capacity to expound on all of these things.
Yes. And where you have a particular, function as the pastor and all that, which is fantastic, I also have a ministry in my own right.
Right.
And we come from the same source.
Right.
The universe, Jesus, God, whatever you call her.
Her.
I'm divinely ordained by what I do.
Yeah.
And so why would you not think that this is coming from a different place or whatever? So I just say that, we are definitely doing a lot better in terms of church and mental health, and they're coming together, which I'm really happy to see. But we've been able as Black folks to do a lot better with less. Can you imagine if we were mentally intact as well?
Right.
How unstoppable we would be?
Right.
Which, for another bottle of wine, that may be by design as well.
Oh, sis, the next time you come in, team. I don't care if it's a Thursday.
Yeah, we might just have to do an LA episode. We might just have to do an LA.
I'm fine with that. They've been wanting me to come to LA anyway. I don't really like it out there, but
I love LA.
You just haven't been in the right spots and places.
Sure. Nah.
Promise. Because Black folks in LA, the ones that are born and bred, are completely different.
Shout out Milan. Handcrafted.
Completely
my best
different.
friends from there.
So many of my good friends.
I will say, also before we get out of here,
That's Mindy's
Right.
line. Before we get out of here,
We about
passing the
to.
plate?
We about to because we about to eat. We've shared a lot of tears already today on and off camera and mic and everything else. One of my mantras, and I told her over breakfast, while this is a lot, and people are like, oh, are y'all leaving? Are y'all staying? Da da da. One of the things that I lived through is this too shall pass.
For sure.
While we're talking about religion, while we're talking about the universe, what we endure wouldn't happen if we weren't meant to take it on.
Yeah.
right.
I do believe that. Everything that has hit me where I've been like, how am I going to get past this? I don't want to be here anymore. I've made it through. And I've looked back and literally, this too shall pass.
Yeah, we got to go through to get through.
Yeah. And it's this.
Yeah.
It's not your world. It's a very small piece of your world. And so really I implore and invite you both to keep that into perspective. Is that y'all gonna be good regardless. This ain't gonna break y'all. No. It's not gonna break Olivia.
No, definitely not.
You see these thighs, ain't nothing breaking me, baby. Sorry.
But I do want to ask, was there anything, because we spent a lot of time on addressing Olivia and the situation, and that needed to happen.
And the network and our health. And
is there anything else like that y'all feel like you want to get out? I mean, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It is Mental Health Awareness Month. I think we really wanted to cover the basis of making sure people could understand not just the importance of it, but just the access to it. Yeah. I think that's really been the part that people get confused. It's like, do I have access to it?
The access, and Bridget and I are not robots. We're not characters on a fucking show.
Oh yeah, but
this has been a lot for us as well. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I know. But
I'm glad that you spoke out.
I wanted us to really censor, because part of the reason why we did invite Sarita on was to really amplify the importance of therapy and also to and prioritizing mental health and really give you an opportunity to give people any steps that they can take even if therapy is not say if therapy is not an option, but if therapy is something that is a really heavy commitment for somebody.
It's always an option. There are counseling centers that do low to no cost or low cost. Therapy for Black girls is beautiful resource.
Beautiful resource. You have Talkspace. You have BetterHelp.
Yep.
There's a lot of options now to where you don't have to switch up on your daily routine. A lot of it is offered now remotely. You guys met during Zoom. I love that y'all got to meet in person now. But yeah, those are the resources that I've been looking through. But therapy for Black girls does cater to Black women and Black men therapists. Right. Because those people are who could really get your experience.
And then there's Psychology Today. And then shout out to Tracy and Taraji at the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, which is Taraji's foundation, and they do they actually support therapists to get their credentials and things. So they give scholarships.
Amazing.
As well as, and we actually another plug, we just did a partnership, LVRN, myself and Black did a Google Talk, and it comes out on Thursday.
Hey,
so this is going to be a really dope week.
So either, and we don't know when this episode is going to drop yet.
I will send that. I will send all.
We
this
definitely
stuff.
want to add something about that.
But it's a Google Talk with Black and I, and it was beautifully done, and it was just speaking about mental health awareness, and we were able to support the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation with what we were doing there. So I'm
amazing.
Really, really happy for Taraji and Tracy, which is her best friend and executive director, because they're doing some really amazing things. And they had a conference. They do a conference before the pandemic.
And y'all know we love Savon. Savon, I don't know if you're listening over there, if we can get all of those links.
Yes.
I want to make it as accessible to anyone who sat and watched this on the whether it be the YouTube comment. This is not an ad. No one's paying us for this. we knew the importance of this, and Bridget reached out to you, and I'm so glad, Sarita, you joined us. But if we could have
God just knew. The
Yes.
universe.
honestly, the
Knew.
universe
Yes.
knew.
You just so happened to be in
Factual
New
and
York for
actual.
this. Yeah, this was
Factual and actual.
needed.
serendipitous. Yes.
And now you about to get a couple of my coins. 'Cause
Hey, and
need
I'm
you
going
and-
to receive them and take them gladly.
Yes.
Where
Yeah.
the money reside.
Where the money
Where the money reside. Where the money
Healing.
reside.
Healing is where the money
Where it
resides.
really
Healing
does.
is. Healing is.
It does.
It is. And even for people with passion and doing
Especially
what they're
for people
loving,
with passion.
especially people with passion.
Yes.
This is very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we love you.
Because
We love you
want to
so
be
much.
here, and we thank you so very, very much.
Yeah.
So very much.
And we'll make sure we're gonna post all the stuff in all the captions and the comments. So when people are able to watch this and able to listen to this, we'll make sure that we add all of on our socials and stuff like that to make sure everything, all of your information, contact information, and things.
Keyword
like that.
listen.
Yeah.
Right.
Keyword listen.
And I want to also do an invitation to the music industry and the TV
Absolutely.
and film industry. I know 300, Kevin Lyles over at 300 is doing some dope stuff with mental health, but this is kind of a challenge to the industry as a whole. Like
Yeah.
we gotta start taking care of our creatives because we're losing a lot of our creatives unnecessarily.
Right.
And even though it may not be the label's responsibility as a human, it is important for us to take care of one another. So I want to put that out there, as well as that, like, let's start leaving the world better than we found it.
I love that. Well, guys, I hope. I don't
love
know.
y'all. We love y'all.
We do love
we really
y'all.
do. We love y'all, but
I
we love
hope-
ourselves more.
We love ourselves a whole lot more.
And we're
Thank
going
you
to
for that.
continue
Thank
to
you for that.
We're going to continue to be steadfast in not only our support of Olivia's truth
Yes.
and in support of her healing. It doesn't have to be about us. It doesn't have anything to do with us at all. But we're in support of her healing, 150%. And also that we are going to continue to show up every week and do what we do and give y'all some entertainment to the best of our ability and give y'all some information and some laughs and
Vulnerability and transparency.
as much as we can, and not at our expense.
Right.
Not at our
Not
expense.
at our expense.
So,
Again, thank you, Sarita.
Thank you for having
And
me.
Bridget, thank you.
love you, girl.
And Parks, thank you. Carl, thank you.
Savon, thank you. Alex,
thank you. Thank all of you here. And
We'll see y'all next week.
We'll see y'all next week, bitch. Bye.